This is me. This is my beloved wife, Sylvia. This is Sylvia's idea of sailing. This is my dream of sailing and my hope of circumnavigating the globe as a retirement project in 2029. This is Sylvia's reaction to that idea.
What? You got a plan?
I am on a 6-year quest to convince Sylvia that a circumnavigation is a wonderful adventure, but the clock is ticking, so join me as I search for the perfect yacht that Sylvia will love, and get all your ladies to subscribe and cheer Sylvia on in the comments. Welcome back to Naval Gazing at Camp David. It's another Future Yacht episode, and this week we're looking at an exciting new mid-range yacht from the premier luxury high-performance cruiser manufacturer, HH Catamarans. Of course, we're talking about the HH52. The HH52 is a wonderful evolution of the beautiful HH50. The 52 brings two helm options. Outstanding lower aft helms that provide both complete shelter and exciting wind in your hair outboard visibility. And a forward helm which you can combine amazing aft tiller seats like an Outremer, but with remote operation of all the controls like Captain Kirk's chair in the Starship Enterprise. Today, we're going to 1. Review its specifications, pricing, and layout against 3 similar new vessels. 2. Do a full tour asking, what would Sylvia say? 3. Naval gaze at an innovation and or adjustment that might make life aboard a little easier. 4. Have a look at the used market for 3 to 5-year-old comparables, if there is such a thing. And 5. Give it a Dave score and compare the results with all the previously reviewed yachts. Of course, as a Future Yacht episode, we're going dry, so sorry guys, no wine, no art. We'll just have to get intoxicated on the art of these beautiful renders of this exciting new vessel. From high above Vancouver, we swing south to Museum Park Marina and our interview with Rob Poirier at the Miami Boat Show last week. From here, we head west across the continent and around the globe all the way to China and the Hudson Yacht and Marine Co. yards in Zhujiang Village. Having said that, HH just announced doubling production capacity and now offer production options in their factory in the Philippines. Looking at this thing, I mean, it is the Lamborghini of catamarans. Look at those long, sleek hulls, those beautiful inverted bows that aren't just inverted, but curved inverted. That integrated real glass segment all the way down the hull that has the windows involved in it. I mean, every angle of this thing screams performance. It is absolute art with a sail on it. Looking at the bow here, you can see huge bridge clearance there. Your boom is nice and low. You're going to get maximum sail area. You've got huge solar capacity on the cabin roof and a beautiful carbon longeron. Now, looking at the new comparables, we've got a neat bunch here to have a quick look at. We've got the Outremer 55, the MC 55, the Windaloo 54, and of course the HH 52. Looking at upwind sail area that comes standard, you've got 193 tied with both the HH 52 and the Windaloo 54. Then you've got the Outremer 55 at 152 and the MC 55 at 150. So as we dive down onto the cabin top, you can see none of these options have any kind of a Versa lounge or fly lounge or anything of that nature. It's actually my mistake. Of course, the MC55 has that aft fly bridge lounge area. And it's hard to see there because there's just a wee section at the back there. But that is raised. Now, one of the criticisms of that, I think it looks fabulous and it gives me a whole bunch of different things. This thing also has a front cockpit, which is absolutely unbelievable and huge interior space. But the concern about that raised aft fly bridge is that it'll act, once you're up there in heavy seas, it'll be like being on the wrong end of the teeter-totter with the school bully on the other end, banging you about as you go up and down. But I gotta say, it looks fantastic, and they've got both a raised or a fly lounge, and they've got a front cockpit, which is absolutely outstanding on a high-performance cat. Beyond that, if you look at the others, the other unique one we've got here is the Windaloo 54, which of course has the forward cockpit, which I was very skeptical about until I sat in the thing, and I just sat there with a giant grin on my face because I couldn't believe the visibility that it gave me. Or the sense of control, because of course you're completely sheltered and you have complete access to the wheel and all your winches, and you can quickly hop up onto the front trampolines right through the front section there. So it's a very unique concept. Now, the HH52 is just, oh, I mean, look at the shape of the thing. Okay, it doesn't have the other little toys, but wow, is it a work of art. I mean, there's not an odd corner on the thing, and sleek and long, beautiful. Now, the Outremer 55 is in real life equally as stunning, perhaps not as say Lamborghini-esque as the HH52 is, but certainly an attractive yacht. So heading now, let's into the cabins, or into the saloon. If you look here, of course, the MC55 has a ginormous saloon. They've almost eliminated all of the aft cockpit. They do have a forward cockpit. They do have a small aft settee. And of course, they have the upper lounge area by the helm. So they have room aplenty on this thing. From there, you'd probably look at the Windaloo, which has the great big garage door, aft door, if you want it. The aft wall lifts right up, almost like a Bali, except it's not on an electric lift. It's a dedicated winch. The HH52, it's hard really to tell from the drawings, but it looks to be about the same depth as the Outremer 55, maybe a wee bit deeper. And I would say maybe a wee bit narrower, although maybe not. It looks to be almost a coin toss between them. The styles on these two, they're equally desirable inside. It's just a completely different style. The HH52 is all sort of leather stitching and high gloss, beautiful veneers. The Outremer 55 is all sophisticated curves, satin finished veneers. And yes, there's detailed stitching in the upholstery, but it's a very modern-esque look. Very attractive. They do an outstanding job. It's a coin toss between these two, and purely subjective taste. And honestly, I'm a traditional guy, and it'd be a coin toss between the two for me. Heading down into the hulls and the cabins, you can see here the MC55, again, very narrow hulls, although, I mean, the HH52 has knitting needles for hulls. Absolutely piercing. The rest of them are, it's really about the same when you look at it. The MC55 is a little odd in that it only utilizes about 60% of the hull. At length for cabin, but you in your owner's suite there, you have lots of walk-around space. I would classify it as a three-sided walk-around main berth. Lovely settee there. It's a really nice setup. The Outremer 55, very attractive. You've got a bigger mattress in there. It's a huge mattress, wall-to-wall. Again, as we all know, Sylvia's given the thumbs up on a wall-to-wall and single side access from the bottom as long as I make the bed. So yay, that opens up the opportunities for me. And the 55 is just gorgeous at every angle. Again, it's a very modern, but it's not minimalist. It's a warm, modern, I don't know how to describe it. Only the French could do it. The Windaloo 54, they're evolving, and I saw the first 54. So judgment on that is really unfair at this point in time. But the owner had spec'd, I think he was going for a charter, scenario, and he'd spec'd a very somewhat sterile plastic sort of environment, easy to clean, all that good stuff. So I'm sure you could warm up that 54 and it would be spectacular, because it does have a lovely two-sided athwartship aft master berth with incredible windows all around. The HH52 is really remarkable in the owner's suite. You have stitching detail in leather pads around the bunk, which we'll see. You have beautiful wood veneers everywhere you look. You have a monstrous picture window over top your bed. Every aspect of this is traditional luxury with a modern edge to it. It's absolutely exceptional. Now, looking at the numbers, we're going across the top line here. And as you can see, the McConaughey MC55 is at a staggering base price of basically 1.9 million euros. The next one down from there is our HH52, and it's at 1.4. Now, this is the OC version. You can actually make this more expensive. So the OC has the mini keels with the winglets and not the dagger boards, and I think the construction is a little bit different, maybe a little less carbon. I'd have to confirm that. So 1.4 there. Next one you're looking at is the Outremer at 1.216, and then the Windaloo at 1.175. Remember, these are base price. On the hundreds of price lists I've priced out for myself based on my taste, I generally add 50% for sail away by the time all is said and done. So you can see what the sail away would be on this, and we'll use that to compare to our pre-owned comparables. Heading down into the stats here, as far as length goes, we're looking at the HH52 is the longest overall, but as far as length at the waterline, we're looking at the Outremer 55 at 54.89 feet, followed by the Windaloo 54 at 52 feet. And then we have the McConaughey at 50.9, and the HH52 is the shortest at 48.85 at the waterline. Draft with the boards up. Of course, the HH52 does not have boards. The lowest draft will be the Windaloo at 1.05 meters, followed by the Outremer at 1.2 meters, followed by the McConaughey at 1.35, and finally the HH has the longest boards at 1.56 up. As we now head down into the capacities, let's look at at displacement here. So there's not a lot to choose from here. The lightest one of the bunch, without much of a surprise, is the HH52. You've got this, 55-foot yacht, 56-foot yacht overall, coming in at just 12.28 tons, which is spectacular. The next one, which is a bit of a surprise, is the Windaloo at 12.8 ton. Then you've got the MC55 at 13.15 and the Outremer at 13.9. But I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other when you're looking at boats this size. As we look down into capacities then, your best capacity here is, believe it or not, on the HH52 at 600 of fuel and 400 of water. That would be followed by the Windaloo at 500 fuel, 400 water. The McConaughey at 460 and 460, and then the Outremer at 440, 440. Now, let's have a quick look onto the more technical data, and we'll look at that hull construction we were referencing. So if we head across this, just a quick look, the HH really does take the cake. So you've got e-glass, epoxy, foam core, carbon reinforcements. That is a heck of a hull. Then you've got the it's a bit of a, it's interesting. No, I'd have to give it to the MC55. So E-glass, foam core, vinyl ester. Then you've got, I would say, the Windaloo at Windaloo or Outremer. No, I'm maybe gonna give it to the Outremer here. You've got a solid polyester laminate beneath the waterline, vinyl ester outer layer. Hulls and deck are polyester with a Divinity Cell foam core and reinforced with carbon. Windaloo is volcanic basalt and PET foam and a high quality polyester resin. So that, again, these are all fantastic construction materials. The Windaloo's basalt is equivalent sort of to, it's not as strong as a carbon, but it's approaching it. Heading down into the performance indicators, so sail area over displacement. Here, this is an indicator of power, and the highest number wins, and the highest number is the Windaloo at 28.35, followed by the McConaughey at 27.4, the Outremer at 26.8, and the HH at 23.6. Next, we're looking at displacement to hull length, which is an indicator of heaviness. Here, it's the lowest number wins. And here, again, it's the Windaloo at 81.28, followed by Outremer at 82.72, followed by McConaughey at 98.17, followed by HH at 102.73. Now, there's a few eyebrow raisers for you. Before we get on board and start looking at the interior, I'd just like to introduce quickly the wonderful team that puts this boat together. Paul Hakes, if you must have seen him on the YouTube videos, this man is sort of the Captain Steve of catamaran manufacturers. You couldn't get a more salt of the earth, honest sounding guy if you tried. I mean, talk about sincerity oozing out of the camera. He's absolutely wonderful. And his son, James Hakes, can you imagine a young man of this age having the opportunity to design yachts of this caliber? I mean, my gosh, what a dream. And again, just a lovely fellow, comes across wonderful on all of the videos. Finally, they managed to snag the male model of the YouTube catamaran world. Our friend Seth Hines and his lovely wife were on Archer, the red Outremer, and they were doing the Sailing Family series. And I met Seth for the first time as I toured the HH50, and I was gobsmacked at what this man knew about this boat and about sailing and about equipment. He's forgotten more than I will ever know. He's also an incredibly humble, wonderful, helpful gentleman. He has given me all sorts of time, more than I deserved, given me tips on how to convince Sylvia to do this. Just a tremendous guy. If you ever have an opportunity, have a chat with him. He's just a wonderful gentleman. I can't say enough about their team. They really seem to be a wonderful group of folks. As we jump on board for our virtual tour, I do want to give you a sense of, will these renders actually look like the real thing? Or will there be disappointment when you actually see the first hull splashed and walk the interior? I think you'll be surprised at what we find here. So first off, we're looking at the HH50. We still have access to its pre-production renders, and of course we have photos of the real thing now. So let's have a look, and that should be indicative of what we can expect on the HH50. Here we have the render looking from the cockpit into the saloon. Looks pretty darn good. Here we have the real thing looking from the cockpit into the saloon, and if anything, it looks better. Here we have the saloon itself in the render, and here we have the saloon itself in the real thing. And once again, the real thing, if anything, looks better. So I think we've got a lot of great stuff to look forward to in this boat. Okay, jumping on board, what would Sylvia say? Well, I think Sylvia would be out of her mind with joy on this thing. Look at the angles, look at the recessed lighting, even in the sugar soup steps. Look at those helms. You've got full wind in your hair, you've got medium wind in your hair, and you've got full shelter. And when the wind's in your hair and that helm is full outboard with the Versa helm, as you see here, holy mackerel, you total connection with the water on the side, the water in the back. The only way you could get nearer is an OC seat hanging over the side, and gosh, in the future here, you'll see we've even got that. So, I mean, these podiums look like the Starship Enterprise. You've got all of your beautiful winches right there. You've got a gorgeous cockpit looking into the actual saloon here. Everything is finished to a T. Beautiful big island, nice settee, L-shaped settee. You look at the finishes and the alternating colors, the light woods. You can get this in, I think it's 4 different wood colors. You've got beautifully encased indirect lighting at the foot of every cabinet. You've got wonderful vents, lights, and skylights in the ceiling. Now let's head down into the hulls themselves. Look at the cabinetry and look at the windows as you go down this hall towards your own berth. The light, the colors, the comfort, the warmth, and then that giant picture window in your berth. As we back into then the ensuite, look at every corner, every curve, every sense of quality you've got. Looking from your berth down the hall into the ensuite, I mean, wow, what a sense of space. And look at the detailing in the padded leather sections alongside your berth. The size of this aft window above your berth. I mean, talk about space. The embedded indirect lighting strips. I mean, everything looks so elegant. It really is an absolutely gorgeous boat. I would say sort of the Oyster or the Contest, but a little more modern style. One more look quickly at the outside. You know, it's a Lamborghini. It's a Lamborghini on the water with a sail. Look at that beautiful black longeron. This thing looks like it's going 100 miles an hour just sitting still. Now, look at the back here. This is the forward helm. And what do we have on the back? We have ORC seats on steroids. Because every one of those, if you look, has that beautiful tiller and the seat that's hanging over the edge at a beautiful angle with a fully digital control panel integrated into it. I mean, the geek in me is going berserk right now. Okay, let's have a little bit of navel gazing here. The interesting thing that some folks were disappointed with on the 52 was that they did not continue their trend of the vertical aft sugar scoop section with the deployable swim platform. They went with a more traditional sugar scoop. I really think they could do one better on this and integrate at least a model offering the swim platform. And if you do that, you create a more vertical line to the back or the aft of the hull, each hull, allowing you then to take the side segments, the bulwarks, and drop them out, as you see on a lot of power yachts these days. Now, if in addition to the drop side bulwarks, the drop down aft swim platform, you put all that lovely carbon technology and lightweight engineering along with some lightweight belt drives that Leopard has done on their swim platform and actually integrate a swim platform. Actually, you don't need to integrate a swim platform. You do exactly what Windaloo has done, and you have the aft section of the cockpit simply drop down, which lowers then your bimini and your davits, but creates a further like 24 inches of extension to your social space in the back. Now, if you take it one further and embed, as we see here, a flip down seat into the back so that when the back is down extending your walking space, the flip down seat folds down and just turns into walking space. But when the back flips up, the fold down seat flips down, creating a lovely aft settee. And you do the same thing with your helm seats if you wanted to. So I think they really should look at doing something like this. It would be really off the geek charts and really add some extraordinary value. Okay, back on board, and we're looking. Look at these. We're onto the forward cockpit here. Look at these aft ORC style integrated seats with the tillers and those beautiful control panels where you control all your winches and you got your nav and everything's right there. I mean, can you imagine? There would be nothing on earth more cool than flying along at 15 knots sitting in that seat. There it is again. I mean, I get chills just looking at that format. You just imagine the fun that you would have. And then when things get awful, you just hop down and you go forward, as we'll see in a minute or two, and you head to your forward, look at that, your forward helm station. Sitting right there with door access up to the front. You got a beautiful big sunroof right above you. You can see your sails. You can flip open in front of your dash there, that front window, and it actually turns into something like the oyster front window as it flips forward. On either side, you've got doors to that forward control area. Look at all of your lovely winches sitting right there. There's another side view of the helm position. You've got the stand-up bolster there behind you that's integrated into the kitchen island. I mean, you're totally secure. You're at the base of the mast. You're in the most stable part of the boat. So when things are getting ugly, and by the way, your wife is sitting over there. If Sylvia's concerned or worried, she sees me. I'm right there. I've got my winches right out front. Wow, look at the control I have here. Plus, when you're at anchor, you can just relax up here. No, it's not a leopard front cockpit, but this is, I mean, it's the next best thing. I mean, it's just so cool. Okay, let's go to pre-owned comparables, and I really don't know what we're going to compare this to because there's really nothing out there much like it, short of a gunboat, I would say. But we'll do our best. Bearing in mind, we're doing 50% on top of the base, so our sail away is 2.250 USD. For the new yacht, here we're looking at a one-year-old Neisna 550F with the flybridge. She's not a performance yacht, but she is a beautiful yacht. They're looking for $2 million. I love the space. I love the flybridge of the Neisna, but to have an HH52 with a forward helm and those aft seats and all that luxury, I'd trade the space. I'd pay the 250 grand and I'd go the HH. Next up, we have an exquisite, an 019, so we got a 4-year-old boat. They're looking 1.450. This boat is outfitted to the nines with all the technology. It really is quite a boat. I'm not in love with the exterior aesthetic, but it is an extremely good boat. I would have no hesitation taking this one for the 800 less, but I have to admit that if I had that 800 hanging around, I'd go the HH. It's just that gorgeous. 019 Katana 53. So we're looking at a 3-year-old boat, and they're asking 1.663. The Katanas this generation just don't have the fit and finish that the previous gens have. They're a little too bally for my taste. It's a great boat. I would consider it has awfully exposed helms. I hate to start singing that tune, but thank you, Nick. I have learned my lesson. I don't know. I don't think I'd go this way. I'd find the money for the HH. Finally, the Naughty Tech 542. It's an 019 3-year-old boat. They're looking for 1.349. This is the only one that I would definitively, if it's in good shape, go for. No, it's not the performance machine that the HH is, but it looks really good. It's not as sexy, but it looks really good. It's a very robustly built boat. The interior finish is exceptional, and the layout is outstanding. So yes, I would put the $1,000,000 in my jeans, the 900 grand in my jeans, probably buy a few more toys for it, and I'd hit the water in the Nautilus. Finally, we're looking at an 019 Privilege 5 Series. That's a 3-year-old boat. They're asking 1.6. Again here, I would probably do the Privilege on this one. I'd throw the, what is that, $600,000 in my jeans, probably do a few upgrades, and probably do the Privilege 5 Series, because for my needs, that machine would be outstanding. Okay, heading into monohull heresy. What the heck do we actually, we have more to compare on a par in the monohull world with this HH52 than we really do in the Catamaran world. So the first one we're looking at here is the RSC 1900. It's a 63-foot all aluminum that doesn't look aluminum. And they are asking $2 million for 3-year-old boat versus 2.250. Ooh, there is a lot of space in this boat. It's a beautiful boat, and it's aluminum. It's a go-anywhere yacht. This one I really have to think about. I still lean towards the HH, but I'd have to think long and hard about that one. Next up, we have an 019 3-year-old Oyster 625. Oh, this is a lovely boat. They are asking 2.629. I mean, I'm sorry, I'd still have to go the HH. I love the Oyster, but guys, wow, that's a lot of money. And the HH will run circles around it. Last but not least, we've got an 019 ML64. Beautiful boat, great legs on it, very comfortable for any kind of weather, a go-anywhere boat. They're asking 2.649. Sorry, there's just no way. I'd do the HH52. The HH52 is a great value compared to this boat. Okay, it's time for the Dave score, the preliminary Dave score. And how did she do? Well, she's way frickin' up there, because this is an absolutely extraordinary yacht. So if we're looking at all the numbers here, she came out at an 80 out of 100, which puts her way up there. I mean, she's tied for second right now, with the only ones ahead of her being the Privilege 580, which is a much bigger boat, and the Portofino 47, which is a highly unique vessel. Both of these would be above the 52 specifically for my needs. If you are a sailor like Seth, these would flip immediately, and I wouldn't have any question about that. So the HH52 interior gets a 9 out of 10. I mean, it's just, if it's anything, and it is trending towards being everything and more than the renders, it's a 9 out of 10. The exterior, 8 out of 10, just because you don't have that many different or unique areas. But very, very comfortable, beautifully done. The interior, comfort, 8 out of 10. The exterior comfort, 8 out of 10. Again, the reason 8, not a 9, something like the Portofino or the Privilege, they have full 3-sided walk-around masters. They have multiple seating areas, blah, blah, blah. Quality, 8 out of 10, but once she splashes, I'm sure you're going to see a 9 out of 10 on that one. Performance, 9 out of 10. The only way you can get higher that would be a Rapido 60. Lazy Sailor, easy 8 out of 10. Maybe even more. Positioning of those winches right there at the helm, regardless of whether you're sheltered or wind in the hair. Position of the winches, if you're inside and comfortable, right just a step through the door and you're at them. Absolutely tremendous. Condo, definitely an 8. It would be a 9 if there was a little more space, but Given that this is a narrow hulls and a performance yacht, a condo score of 8 out of 10 is unbelievable. Geek score 8 out of 10. That could be a 9 if you had those lovely drop-down swim platforms. And if I'm looking at the forward helm, it's going to be a 9 because I'm out of my mind in love with those aft tiller seats. Value for money, it's an expensive boat. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. But if I had the money, there wouldn't even be a question. So that is our yacht for the week. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is, as you can tell, I am over the moon on this yacht. Win the lottery, those stocks come in, we'll be talking, Seth. But this is, for those of you with that kind of cash, I think this is a go-to yacht, and my goodness, you would have the time of your life. So have a great week. We'll see you back here next week. Thank you very much.